Back home, I had actually like seen cow being slaughtered for like Eid or something, or like some festival, and they would like slit the throat, hung it upside down, cut it up, and take off the skin and everything. But I didn't really look at the cow as like a conscious being that like feels like pain, pleasure, and all that stuff. Yeah, that disconnect was definitely there. Like, of course, I would try to like stay away from it and what, but I was like, yo, we gotta eat. I thought it was like a necessity type of thing. I believe by the time I saw, I think the last cow I saw like being murdered in front of me, I think I was probably like 15, 14 years old. And it's like there's everyone around, just there's kids around, just watching.
It's a celebratory thing, you know?
Right,
So yeah,
it's just a normal thing. You know? Nobody's like questioning it, you know? But if someone did question it, like maybe I would have been like, yo, maybe this is wrong, you know?
Yeah.
But there was no room for that, like at that time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode number 72 of the Conscious Cast. I'm your host, Cal, along with my other boy, Mr. Kevin. How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man.
Yeah, you good, bud. Yep. Oh, no, we don't have a band. How you doing, though, man?
Man, I'm doing good, man.
You're doing good. You're doing good. So for those who don't know, I have a good friend. His name is Kevin. He is the president here of it's the vegan club, but it's called the Veg Club for to get more people to join, and you know, not develop that kind of negative stigma towards it. He's also in robotics and mechatronics as his major, and he's graduating here in the spring. And he's from Uganda, so a very interesting individual, very high valued individual, and I think we're gonna have a great conversation today. How you doing, though, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm so excited.
Let's go, man.
Episode number 72.
Let's go. Yeah, but as I was touching on before, you're from Uganda, right? And you spent the summer there, right? And now you're back, right? And you're back with the vegan club. You emailed me over the like I think it was right before the fall semester started, or like it was right before,
right around the time.
And you asked me to see if I had any interest in joining the vegan club or the veg club. So like, what? Just kind of started off. What really brought you to Connecticut? Brought you from Uganda to Connecticut, and how have you liked it here so far?
Well, it's a long story.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm born in Uganda.
Yep.
But so I was raised there until I was like 8 years old. Then from there, I went to the United Arab Emirates.
Oh, okay.
To Dubai.
Oh, wow. Dude.
Yeah.
You went to Dubai? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, my God.
Yeah, the big bougie Dubai.
Exactly.
Then, so I spent like around 9 years there.
Oh, wow. Holy
crap. I did my high school and all that there.
Dang. That's awesome.
Yeah, all the way to 2017. Wow. Yeah. And
like the end of high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then after graduating high school, I went to Cyprus for my college.
Where's that?
So Cyprus is next to between like in the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay.
Between Greece and Turkey. So it's an island.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know English? Was the English like the predominant language like your entire life, or have you?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Uganda mostly speaks English.
Okay. All right. Yeah. See my ignorance. This is why we're having him on. It's an easy assumption. Yeah.
It's an English speaking.
Okay.
Actually,
Gotcha.
English is like the main language of Uganda, basically.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha.
So yeah, I knew English from there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So wow, dude, you were in Dubai, bro. You're keeping that hush hush. You never told me.
That's the same reaction I get.
We find out this dude's Uganda prince, dude. That's awesome, though.
Yeah. I went to Dubai, but I just went there for school. You know?
I went there for school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not like I went there to like live my best life or anything. It was just like
I got you.
Just working hard, reading books the whole time.
No, it was a grind, for sure.
It was a grind. It's not like I was like in the Dubai Mall, the Burj Khalifa, enjoying the views. I was out there in the heat.
I know. Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's hot out there, right?
It's hot.
There's a lot of money out there too, right?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of money.
Dude, they're trying to build like a desert city, right? Or
something
like that?
That's Saudi Arabia.
Oh, Saudi Arabia. Okay.
Saudi Arabia. It's called the Line, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't really think that they were gonna actually pull that through. Like,
I think really, is that like a thing or?
It actually is a thing.
Oh, it is. Okay.
And they've actually started like working on it.
Wow.
Bro, no, that thing it just looks so dystopian.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
like you can't pay me to live there. That's the oil money, though.
Yeah,
they can be whatever they want. For
dude, I don't even know. Yeah, it's the oil money. Exactly, man. Yeah. But yeah, like, what made you transfer? Not transfer, but like, transition from Dubai to. What made you want to come to the United States?
So I've always wanted to come to the United States, especially since my dad already was working here and living here.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah. So as I was in Cyprus, I was already like planning to come.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I was planning to like just do a few years in Cyprus, well, until I could come here and then continue from here. Yeah. So by 2020, I was like 2.5, 3 years in. Yeah. And that's when I was able to like move here.
Wow. Okay.
So
gotcha.
Yeah. So I moved here in like 2020. Oh, wow. Connecticut. My dad's living in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, gotcha.
So I moved here to like join him. And,
that's awesome, man. Yeah. Then you
continue school.
Did you start at Central here as a freshman, or did you come like midway through?
No, I continued.
Oh, you continued.
So I was doing mechatronics in Cyprus, and when I came to Connecticut, I believe Connecticut is like the only college that gives robotics and mechatronics engineering.
Really? Not even UConn? That's nuts.
Yeah, UConn doesn't.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, go Central, dude. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and mechatronics is really like a new field. Like not many people even know about it.
Yeah.
Like every time I tell someone my major, I'm like robotics and mechatronics. Everyone just their mind.
Exactly. What? Transformers, dude?
Exactly. Like, is that Megatron? Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah.
So CCSU was like the only that provided. Okay. So I just applied here and just continued like my third year.
Yep. And then you're graduating this spring. Yeah. And so like, what was coming to Connecticut, because like. I wrote this in a grad essay to try and get a scholarship. Hopefully I get it. Be like $500, but still, dude, money's money, man. Yeah, I've barely ever traveled outside of North America. I've never traveled outside of North America. Or I've only been to Canada, like Niagara Falls. That's it. Like that's just like the 2 steps over, right? So, and I've been to Montana just this past. This was past summer. So, like, I have very minimal traveling experience in my life, right? Yeah. Let alone I've barely traveled outside the Northeast region, like, of the United States, right? So, like, for an individual like me, right, that hasn't experienced a wide variety of cultures, right, meaning, like, just different locations around the world, their way of life, their beliefs, their notions towards life, like, just their overall lifestyle, like, how much, not necessarily am I missing out on, but, like, do you think like there's a lot of experience there that I could learn from being in like a different type of culture? Like, okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think I love traveling. First of all, I traveled a lot, and any chance I get to like either go back to my country and like either tour or visit some people, I always take it, or any other country. Because when you travel, like the amount of exposure you get to like different environments and different cultures, it's like you get to experience like what it's like and like what life is like in other people, and especially like if like the atmosphere is really different. Like when let's say you go to a country that speaks like a completely different language. Let's say you go to like Tokyo, Japan. You kind of like really get like respect for like not just like the people there, and like I feel like you get respect for life in general. Like you just see all these people like moving around and doing all different things, and like you learn new things. You try different types of foods. You just get a respect for the whole environment and like the whole idea of like being here and like living the whole experience with everyone else.
And I think that's so important too, because like especially when you're traveling, and like I've touched on this so many times, it's like this culture shock, right? It's like holy crap, bro, like what is going on? Like this is because like the norms in one country can be completely different from another norm in another country. Like for instance, eating dogs in the United States is like, what?
Right.
Like, but you go to China, they have a whole festival around it, right? So it's like there's
or even bugs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, insects, exactly, man. There's a whole type of different culture, and just different way of life that like really just literally it's just I just find that fascinating, like how certain individuals in one environment can like develop certain norms, behaviors, and habits that like they just see as normal, right? But another culture can be like, what? Like, like they just see it as not as wrong in a sense, right? But even though it might not be like morally wrong. Did you notice anything like when you came to like what were some specific things that you noticed when you came to like or Connecticut or just when you went to Dubai or whatever?
Well, when it comes to the United States, I feel like it's like very different from many other cultures because the influence that the U.S. has on like media, like, movies in Hollywood, I already knew what to expect.
Okay,
you know,
gotcha.
I've watched a lot of American movies, American news. CNN is like all over. It's all over. Everyone watches it.
No, dude, no.
So everything.
We're not all like that.
Not just CNN,
obviously, I'm just playing around.
But yeah, like the American culture is like so like widespread. Like everyone knows a little bit about what's going on here. Exactly. And the influence that the US has like huge. Exactly. So I kind of knew what to expect. I think the most shock that I have had is not really like a culture shock. It's mostly like an environmental change. Okay. So like the weather. Okay. You know, because I'm coming from like all the way from the UAE where it's like 100 degrees every now and then, you know? Yep. Or even 120 Fahrenheit. That's like, I don't know, 40, 50 degrees Celsius sometimes. So when I come here, it's like a complete flip upside down, you know? It's like the complete opposite. So like, yeah, it's freaking cold, man.
Your experience is like crazy. Because you felt... were you like unprepared when it came to, or did you like over prepare when it came?
I was unprepared.
You're like, what's going on right now?
And it's just, but I don't know, it was kind of like the way that I came to the United States is like the timing that I had when I was coming was horrible, you know, because I came here in 2020.
Oh yeah, dude, during COVID.
Knows,
man. Oh, jeez,
exactly.
Dude. I'm surprised did you come right before?
In
January.
Like, I came in March.
Oh my god.
So I came March 7th.
Was that like right before it happened?
You're right before. It was like 3 days. 3 days as soon as I arrived, the whole shut down.
Were you at Central at that point?
I hadn't applied.
Oh, okay,
so
like
started.
Like, oh, America's dope. Like, shut down.
Don't go outside.
It's a fan. Wow, dude.
So yeah, I didn't really get like a chance to like experience like all like the differences like throughout like I don't know, like the first whole year of COVID.
Wow, yeah.
Stopped everything.
Wow, dude.
But yeah.
That's nuts, man.
It's crazy.
Like, you can't make that stuff up. You really can't.
It's like, am I in a movie or something?
Dude, yeah, and it's like, especially with like that, like you would, I don't know. I never thought like a virus would shut down the world. You know what I mean? And then like, what do you know?
Actually, I think... I actually expected like it's something that you expect because like people always talk about the next pandemic, when is it gonna be or what this movie's coming out about 2040 like everything shuts down, so I just didn't expect it to be like right now
3 days in, dude.
You know, like when you think about those things you're like maybe like 20 years, you know, some virus is gonna come out of nowhere. You never expect to be like this year or some
man
like that, you know.
I mean, it's crazy because especially like you made such a good point there because in my environmentalism class, you know, with Dr. Good, shout out Dr. Good. If you ever the go, literally the go. I think I'll have him on the podcast one day if he wants to. That is, dude. I don't know if he's.
I think he'll definitely.
He'd be down. I probably have to go to his sanctuary, but still, it's worth it. It's worth it though. Yeah. He was talking. Okay, so we watched this documentary. You might have seen it back when you took the class. It was pretty much in India. There's this village called the Ladakis, right? And so prior to Western culture and being integrated into their society, they had a completely self-sufficient community where they only worked like 4 months out of the year, right? And the other 8 months they would just spend like, you know, do a little bit of work, you know, obviously like maintenance. It was a big community. It was like a gift economy, like, so meaning like they wouldn't put price tags on services and like commodities and stuff. It would just like, they would be exchange stuff,
they had
right?
money, right?
Yeah, they didn't have money, but they were completely, I mean, they probably did have a little bit, but
they had a form of
exchange, exactly, form of exchange, but it was like completely self-sufficient, right? Like great way of life. Of course, like it had its issues, no doubt about it, but it was like, it wasn't like the prettiest culture, right? But no, I shouldn't say the most American, according to America, prettiest, right?
It wasn't westernized.
Exactly, westernized, exactly. And pretty much as time went on, like I said before, they were completely self-sufficient. Everyone in the community knew how to do like very important skills in relation to agriculture, in relation to, like, you know, building and the like, you know. They all knew these types of skills. But funny enough, as time went on, there was this other, I think it was this, I don't know if it was a part of the Ledeckis community, started to be industrialized, right? And Western culture started to come in, right? And in that type of the world, like Western beliefs, values and stuff like that started to be integrated. And as time went on, right, and that gift economy went away, right? So commodities and services started to charge things. The overall quality of life dropped tremendously because now there's a hierarchy, right? And everyone's being isolated, right? And rather than everyone being on the same page and there being a community, right? Exactly. And it just shows that like Western, like, and I probably didn't do the best job of explaining that right there, but it just shows like like Western society has had a major impact on the world and civilization, like just the whole materialistic mindset, right? And like adopting that way of life and just continually consuming and consuming and consuming rather than being in harmony with nature, right? Not taking more than you need, right? And being in like a community has not only impacted individuals' mental health, but it has greatly affected the planet in a really bad way.
Really bad, yeah. Even people's health in general, you know, like the whole consumption and like the whole system that we have built up is all about getting more money, you know, at the end of the day.
Exactly, yep.
And that's pretty much the same thing that happened in Ladakh. Like they came in and they flooded the whole system with cheap food, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And as soon as people, and then they like made people realize that, oh yeah, if you work for this money, you can buy this food, which is much cheaper, right? So they just kept working and working, and then just buying this cheap grain and food that was imported, and so they didn't really care to like manage like the resources that they had in like for themselves. And then so like all the farmers and everyone, they just lose out because they can't compete, you know. So that's the thing. It's just the money mindset, you know. That's really what affects it. And
I think like when that money comes in, right? When that's the bottom line, right? When people are just trying to make more money for themselves, right? It's all about me, right? As opposed to the community, right? It's all for us, right? And in that documentary, it says 20 years before, or maybe like 10 years before, I think it was 20 years before, they interviewed this guy in the original Ledeckis culture, right? And like he was part of the community, whatever. And he's like, and then one of the documentary people who was asking a question, asked them, like, how do you handle poverty here? And then the guy goes, we don't have poverty. Everyone has a house. You know what I mean? Like everyone has a place where they can stay, meet their basic needs. And they're like, 10 years go by. And this guy, the guy that they asked that question, is now living in the Ledecky culture, or the other part of the community that has been Western, or has been industrialized, right? And they asked him that same question, and they were like, yeah, there's people living on the streets. There's people don't even meet their basic needs, barely get any food or water. So, I mean, just that alone shows how Western culture, consumption, the integration of money, right, has completely like just flipped society, right? Because like we had like a self-sufficient system, right? We had like all these things, right? And I'm not saying like it's necessarily not necessarily practical or realistic to go back to that type of society. Like, if I just start working out in the fields, like, there's no way. Like, there's no way
you're gonna get people
exactly.
to start, like,
I mean, do you think there needs to be like some type of balance there where we balance like money and that kind of like self-sufficient gift type of economy? Like, do you think there needs to be some kind of balance there?
I think the first thing we have to, I think the first approach we should do is like try to identify the type of things that we can like commodify and not commodify.
Okay, interesting.
So like, for example, let's say food, you know, like when you commodify food, you're putting a price on something that someone needs to survive, right?
Interesting.
And when you're trying to make money from like selling food, like when you make food a commodity, when you try and put money on that, like, and you're trying to like make profit from it, like someone's gonna lose out in the end.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So that's the and like shelter and like water and like land, for example, those types of things. Like if you can like maybe like make it like harder for people to like make like so much money from that, then maybe that's like a good way to start, you know?
No, yeah, I could not agree more, man. It's like we put price tags on these basic needs, right? Basic things that people need. And it fascinates me how someone in our society, someone can go without, like literally without a home, without food, technically without water, and society won't do anything about it. Like, yeah, sure, there's ways that they help, right? But like ideally, I think we should develop a system where everyone, I don't care who you are, right? What race, gender, ethnicity you are, everyone meets their basic needs, right? Like, and that should be that. I mean, well, you look at that as like kind of like a socialist type of thing, right? But like it's you communist, you damn commie. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, it's just. Do you think everyone should have be able to meet their basic needs?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, most of the people on the streets don't really want like some fancy house, you know. They don't want to eat a 3-5 course meal.
Yeah,
all the
exactly.
time, you know?
Exactly.
So maybe like the basic needs, at least be like to be able, like we should at least live in like a society that's able to like provide for the like the basic needs of people. But when someone is like trying to make money like out of like all this stuff, like they can't really see that, you know. They're just thinking about like their bottom line.
Exactly.
So that's like
and I think I don't know if you follow like Russell Brand at all. Love the guy. my go-to journalist. Even though he's a comedian, but
he's vegan too.
He is vegan. That's right. Yes, which we will get into in a little bit. But he was saying how I think it's like, well, I don't know the exact number, but I'll just say the majority of products are completely needless, right? So we make all these commodities and services that aren't actually needed, right? So we're taking so much more than we actually need, right? And there's a demand for these products, right? But this demand isn't based on necessity, right? So it's in excess, right? So we're demanding way more than, like I said before, than what we actually need. And I think just this overconsumption, especially within the United States, is just leading to so many problems. I mean, especially environmentally.
Right. And there's also like the waste that's coming out of it, you know?
Absolutely.
It's like most of it is not like we don't demand most of it, but we also waste so much.
Exactly.
But it's also because we like, if you're in a business and you're producing something, you want to keep making money from it. For example, like, let's say you are selling this camera, right? You don't want to make a camera that lasts too long because you won't keep getting your customers.
Exactly.
What was the word for that type of planned obsolescence?
Oh, okay.
Where you make a product, but you don't make it last so that you can keep getting the customer.
Yeah.
You make money from the comeback.
Yeah, that's what we do with iPhones and stuff like that.
Exactly. iPhones, like, as soon as like it hits 5 years, it starts breaking down. Even if it's a good phone, you know. And iPhone is actually getting sued. Apple is getting sued like several like all the time because their batteries keep dying and iPhone keeps slowing down the phone and times because their whole model is to make more money. You know, you just can't stop, and that's the whole. That's the whole problem with capitalism. You just gotta keep making money.
Yep, exactly.
And that really applies to everything. So I think we're gonna keep coming back to this. The root cause is always the system, you know? It's just how everything is set up. You just gotta keep making money from this, and it doesn't matter if Walmart is throwing out 50% of its produce. It doesn't matter. It's you gotta keep making money. There's no money in like giving that produce to the homeless, you know, or like trying to save a little bit and give it. They're gonna come back, man. So it's like,
yeah. Okay, but you made such a good point there with capitalism, right? Because it's all about taking, and this is whatchamacallit's definition, Russell Brand's definition of democracy and capitalism. He said, I don't know if you know, follow Julian Assange.
Julie.
Yeah, he was
Julian
like, I forget. No, it's
I know
there was
Assange.
some like I forget the same. But anyways, like
WikiLeaks.
Yeah, WikiLeaks. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, WikiLeaks. Yeah.
It's WikiLeaks. Okay. He said the purpose of democracy is to take money out of public hands and put it into private ones, right? And so just capitalism, right? That's what it's all about, right? It's about just this privatization of wealth, right? And it's just about you owning things privately, right? And through you owning things privately, it means other people can't own it, right? And so on that basis, there's no sharing there, right? It's just like I was saying before, it's just this isolation, right? And it's just this type of competition, exactly, to always be on top, right? And there's just this constant battle between, whether it be organizations, individuals, to just, and according to economics, to just continue to consume, right, and to continue to produce product. Oh, and this is a great point that Dr. Good said. He said, if for instance, like you produce organic tomatoes, right, for instance, and like, sure, it's gonna be some value, right, because you can put a price tag on it, right? But if you can produce GMO type of tomatoes, right, that they can sell for, it's gonna hold more value in the economy, right? And so therefore, on that basis, there's gonna be things such as people's way of lives, right? That is more inherent to them, that doesn't produce as much value to the economy, right? So in according to the economy's type of perspective, right, they see that thing as valueless, right? Even though that type of thing is what is needed in order to save things such as the planet, people's mental health, right, and the like, you know. So it's just how capitalism has taken people's goals and shifted them towards a profit-based mindset and just consume, just to be on top, right? There's a lot of benefits, but I think there's way more disadvantages than the actual benefits.
Just as you say, like they don't see the value as someone else would see. Like if you're trying to make money, the only value you see is like the profit, you know. At the end of the year, how much profit am I going to make, regardless of let's say the distraction to the planet that I'm doing. Okay, that's just that's nothing. So that's the problem. Like
because they'll see some things as valuable, right, and others as not, right? So if they're able to do the most immoral, do the most immoral thing that's deemed as legal, right? They'll do it, right? In order to, as long as it's legal, right? Because legality equals morality, right? But it's like, this is especially true.
Actually, even when it's illegal, like some companies are built up to like to a point where they are above the law, like Chevron, for example. You know,
great point.
Like in Ecuador, like the amount of destruction they're doing is like crazy. But like, and there's this lawyer. He sued Chevron for like like he put up a case against Chevron, and he sued Chevron for like $9 billion. Right, $9 billion, and
a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So like all that money was supposed to go back to all the people in Ecuador that were like affected by Chevron like dumping all that those chemicals into their rivers and like poisoning them and giving them like cancer and stuff. But because they're so above the law, like they were able to like hire different types of judges who could like take like kind of like create like a character attack against like the journalist and the lawyer who's like sued them, so they didn't have to pay that $9 billion. You know, so it's like even when it's illegal, like in this system, once you build up enough money, like you're above the law. Dude, you can do whatever you want.
100%.
You can pay anyone off. And so it's just like it just gets worse.
Dude,
that's the thing.
You made such a good point there, because eventually, I don't know if you know. I don't know if you know Jeff Bezos. Who's Jeff Bezos? But he Russell Brand did this video on him a while ago, and he brought up same point that you said. Once people reach enough wealth, right,
the law only works on poor people.
Yeah, man. We'll dive into that a little bit more. Hey, what do you mean by that?
Well, the thing is, like, let's say I'm speeding down the highway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and I get like a $200 ticket. Like, that's gonna hurt me, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm Jeff Bezos, you're like, come on, man. Like,
exactly.
that's just like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And also, like, let's say some company messes me up. Like, let's say Walmart or Amazon does this to me. If I take them up in court, like, what chances do I have?
Yeah,
but if I'm the one in the right, right?
Yeah.
And they're the ones in the wrong. Like,
great point.
They have higher power because they can hire all these lawyers.
Yeah, they have more money. They have more
money, so they're above the law, kind of.
Exactly. And then because money determines your ability to do things, right? And like you said before, Jeff Bezos, if you were to get a speeding ticket, like you said, that's a drop in the bucket for him. You know, it's nothing. But also, if he were to get that speeding ticket, that cop might be like, "Are you Jeff Bezos, dude?" Like,
yo, let me get a selfie, right?
Like, and they'd be like, "Ah, dude, you're good, you're good." Or like in another way, he could like pay off, or like you said, he could hypothetically like hire a bunch of lawyers, right? And lawyers can work their magic, right? And they can get them off, right? So like, there's ways around.
You can just like fund the police department,
exactly, something like that.
Give money to them.
Yeah, and if you want a concrete example of this, in I don't know where it was. I think it was definitely in an overseas country. Pretty much, they were building a yacht for Jeff Bezos, right? And the only place the yacht could be built was behind this like bridge, or like behind this bridge, right? And so prior to this, the city or country, I'm not too sure exactly, pretty much said they were never going to take down that bridge again, right? Like they weren't gonna, because it's like a historical bridge, right? And it's like has a lot of value to the community, and like that was like an ordinance, right? Or like a law, right? Yeah, exactly. But then once Jeff Bezos runs into town, right, he's like, "Hey, I want this yacht," and the only way to get the yacht out is if they deconstruct the bridge, right? And that's exactly what they did, right? Like, and so pretty much based on his ability to fund, influence, right, and his power, right, the law doesn't apply to him, so it's unequal. It's unequal, man.
It's unequal. It's like he's a king, basically.
Yeah, dude.
It's like we're back in medieval times.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like he can just do whatever he wants,
man.
Like imagine all the people. Imagine all the people around there who are like, "Yo, this breed as well," and then Jeff Bezos, some random guy comes.
Yep, exactly.
It's like, what value has he even created in that area?
Yeah, exactly,
to do something like
I'm
that.
sure Jeff Bezos is a nice guy, and it's like, okay, maybe not. All right,
a nice billionaire.
Yeah, a nice billionaire. Yeah, exactly. But I think the point here is that the law isn't applied equally to everyone, right? And we even see this like just based on your race, just based on your gender, just based on all these different types of things. And especially if you're an animal, right?
Yeah,
exactly, right? Because there's almost, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the documentaries, especially with like Joey Carbstrong with his like he did an investigation in an animal slaughterhouse, right? Had like camera footage of like a cow getting his like horns ripped off, his like nostrils, completely flared, and they stunned him, right? But he wasn't completely dead, and then they literally cut his head off while he was still are still conscious, right? So brutal stuff, right? Yeah. And like he submitted that to I don't know if it's like what governmental agency they said, right? They were like, we see nothing wrong with this, right? Yeah. It's completely legal.
Just
therefore it's
practice.
Moral, right? I mean, so as we discussed before, right? Like you're obviously vegan. I like to say I'm very close to vegan, right? Because it's like a lifestyle that is very hard to be back. But I'm completely plant-based, right? So we're pretty much right there next to each other. What made you get into veganism? Like why is that such a big passion in your life?
So actually, I turned vegan like in May of last year. So it was.
It's been about like a year and a half, right?
Yeah, it's been around a year and a half. So I was just chilling at home and
look at Jeff Bezos. It's like, hey Jay, Jeff, you want to go vegan? But yeah, transitioning more to veganism. Like I asked you before, like how did I? How did you get into veganism? Like what made you? really want to engulf yourself in this area. Yeah, so you said May or April, right, of 2021?
So May, around May. So before all of this, like I never really, I don't think I really knew what veganism meant. I think most of what I knew from about veganism is like these activists, you know, like marching on the streets, protesting animal cruelty. I think what I really understood the most was vegetarianism. But yeah, here comes May of 2021. Just on my chill, and it was like late in the evening, and my cousin shows me a video from Cowspiracy. So Cowspiracy is like a movie about like the beef industry and the dairy industry and like what goes on in it. Yeah. So she shows me this video of this calf being taken away from her mother. And so yeah, she shows me the video, and the calf is running away. Wow. The farmers get the calf, throw it into a truck, and like drive off. And you can see the mother cow like chasing after its baby. And I was like touching, you know, and I was like, yo, what's going on? And she just told me, you know, this is standard practice over here, you know. And this is in the U.S. But back home in Uganda, it's like it's not really something. It doesn't really happen that often, especially like on local farms. Or sure here it's a little similar.
There's a lot of factory farms though. There's a lot more factory farms. Would you say?
It's like 99% factory farms. So but in Uganda, like I never give it a second thought because I could see the calf drinking milk from the mom and what. So that was my mindset the whole time. And it was when I saw that I'm like, and then she tells me, she's like, yeah, this is what really happens, and this movie really goes into detail about what happened. And then she tells me about Seaspiracy, which was
Joey Carbstrong's, right? Or was that no. Oh, he does. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Seaspiracy is like kind of like a sequel to Cowspiracy.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so Seaspiracy is like about like the fish farming industry.
Fish farming. Yeah, it's brutal, dude.
Industrial fish farming.
Trillions.
Yeah, it's great. So I was already like so sad from like seeing like what happened. And I used to love milk, you know. I used to love milk and cereal all the time. Absolutely. And when I saw that, I was like, man, like what is going on? Is this something that I've been contributing to this whole time? And so she told me about Seaspiracy and like what happens there, and I watched it. And Seaspiracy is like really, really persuasive. Wow. And it like really goes into deep detail about like everything that goes on. And after Seaspiracy, it was like I think May 16th I watched it, and I was like, yo, I can't keep doing this. And so I did more research. I I looked more into it, and I was like, yo, I can't do this anymore.
How did you made the choice like May 16th after that, right? You said you wanted to go so you wanted to go vegan after that point? Right?
I was like, I should at least try it, you know. But I just go ahead and do it.
Did you go like cold turkey? Did you go like no meat, no dairy?
I actually did.
Wow,
go cold turkey.
Kidding. Would you say that's okay? How did that work out for you?
For me, like, I'm not really like, I don't know.
Are you like an all or nothing kind of guy?
Not really that I'm all or nothing, but I just didn't. I didn't really love meat and dairy that much to be like, I really need this. Because
it's easier for you.
Yeah, I loved eating a lot of local food and stuff. So it wasn't really hard for me.
Exactly.
But it's not the same for everyone, of course.
And it was the same way for me too. Like, I was easily able to give up meat, you know, but dairy and cheese and that was a lot harder. Because dairy is in way more stuff.
Than everything, almost.
Everything,
man.
dude.
Like,
that's the real battle.
Dairy and eggs.
Yeah, dairy and eggs, man. And so like, for someone that's like, so you went vegan, right? You cut out dairy and eggs. Like, how did it impact your life as an individual after that? Because like, you were obviously aware of. So you went vegan for ethical reasons, right? Or did you do it for other reasons, or?
I went vegan for ethical and environmental reasons.
Okay.
So ethically, I didn't think it was right to like take a baby cow, like a cow from his mother. And also like Seaspiracy was more environmental because the destruction we're causing to the ocean right now is like, it's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Like the plastic, the chemicals, it's a lot.
Dude, there's so much.
Yeah, so it's like ethical and environmental reasons. But I knew most of I knew to eat beef you have to kill a cow, you know. So I knew what happens. Like you gotta kill a cow to get beef and stuff like that. I just didn't think about it. Like I was so used to it. Like it's something that everybody does, and your parents raised you to do this.
So normal.
So it was normal.
Yeah.
But after like doing some research and like looking into it, I was like, you just can't do this, you know. But
because there is. So would you say there was a big disconnect between
definitely
what was on your plate, right, and just like the objectified piece of meat, right, and what was actually going on, right? Like there's almost no connection there with the animal, right? When you just like look at a piece of meat, right? Like obviously, like like you said, like you knew an animal had to die, right? Like you knew that, but you didn't know the suffering isn't there, right? Like it obviously, like it had to suffer, right? But since you didn't see the suffering, you're not like emotionally connected to the suffering. You don't feel impacted by that at all, right? Would you say that's how you felt, and that's how that? Would you say that relates to a lot of people?
Yeah, I definitely think it relates to a lot of people, and like for me, like back home, like I had actually like seen like this, like I've seen a cow being slaughtered, and let's say for like Eid or something, or like some festival, and they would like slit throat, hang it upside down, cut it up, and take off the skin and everything. But I didn't really look at the cow as like a conscious being that like feels like pain, pleasure, and all that stuff. So that disconnect was definitely there. It's not that I didn't like. Of course, I would try like to like stay away from it and what. But I was like, yo, we gotta eat. You know, that type of view, like, you know, like I thought it was like a necessity type of thing. But anyways, I was like much younger. I believe by the time I saw, I think the last cow I saw like being murdered in front of me, I think I was probably like 15, 14 years old, you know. Dang. So
it's nuts, man.
And it's like there's everyone around, just there's kids around, like just watching.
It's a celebratory thing, you know.
Right.
So
it's just a normal thing, you know, and like nobody's like questioning it, you know. But if someone did question it, like maybe I would have been like, yo, maybe this is wrong, you know. Yeah. But there was no room for that, like at that time.
So would you say there's a lot of similarities there in terms of like how, like, for instance, like culture, right? The celebration of like, you know, killing animals, right? And we're talking in a context because like, you know, there's still civilizations and not civilizations, but there's still like people that hunt and gather, right? Like that's like they're like meat is a necessity for them, like right, like they have to eat meat in order to survive. Like that's a completely different case, right? It's not like they can walk down to their local supermarket and get like veggie burgers, right? Like no, that's just not practicable for them, possible, right? Yeah. But we're talking about in a context of like, and I think that's such a great analogy too, because it's like, it's almost as though like we glorify meat, right? Like we glorify animals being slaughtered, right? When they don't have to be, right? So like, for instance, whether it be like a celebration in a culture, right? Like they think that like, and like I'm speaking in broad general terms right now, and I'm not trying to make like any judgments that you know aren't, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But they're trying to like, you know, celebrate this animal being killed, right? And it's just like I think there's a lot of parallels there between in the United States, right? We go to a supermarket, right? You just look at this as like Thanksgiving, for example, right? Like you're celebrating an animal being killed, right? But like there's this major disconnect, right? There's this major disconnect between what's on your plate and what actually happens, right? And I think as we start, like you did, and I've done, and a lot of other people, they've made themselves aware of information, right? Made themselves aware of what actually goes on, right? And even though like it's still hard, at least in my, would you say there is still a little bit of like a disconnect there? Because I know when I see like, for instance, when someone tells me like, oh, are you gonna kill a dog, right? Like if you're someone's like, oh, you should kill a dog and eat them, right? Like that like impacts me way more than like a cow. Like, oh, you're gonna eat a cow. Do you still feel that? Like to some extent? Like, because that's how I feel.
I think everyone feels that, you know, like we have certain animals that we can eat and then other animals that you can treat as pets, you know? So and like the thing is, once something is normalized, it's very hard to question it, right? Yep. So like you walk around, you get outside and you see someone walking their dog and then you're like, oh, that's normal, right? And then you see someone kicking a dog, you're like, that's crazy, that's messed up. You see someone like, let's say walking a pig or something. Like,
even in my mind. Exactly.
And then on their plate, you know, that's all right.
Exactly.
But yeah, that disconnect is like around like with everyone, because we decided that some animals are for food and some animals, speciesism, and it's just been going on for so long that people just become used to it and they don't question it. And that's just how it happens. But yeah, and I also saw it like that until I became vegan. I'm just like, yo, like this like. What difference is it between a dog and a pig, really? Like, fundamentally, like,
exactly.
What, like, when you see a dog being kicked, or if you see a dog being like tortured or something, like, what is it about that dog that makes you like feel for it? You know,
it's that, in my opinion, that emotional connection to it.
Connection. And you realize that dog is actually feeling pain. You know, they are conscious. Like they have a perspective. Same thing can be said for all the other animals, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, like it's just that emotional connection. And I always had a hard time wrapping my head around this, at least at first with veganism, because like when I would watch like Earthling Ed or, you know, Joey Carbstrong doing those table debates, right? They'd be like, they would bring up the example like the dog versus like a cow or pig, right? And it would be like, morally, what's the difference, right? What's the difference? And I would always be like, but it's a dog, dude. Like, it's a cat. Like you just, there's no difference there. Like, they're animals, right? Just as we are, right? Now, am I saying, if you've heard this example before, if there's a fire in a building, right, and there's two chickens and a human, right? I'm gonna choose the human, right? Like but we're not in that type of situation, right? Exactly, like, there's choice, right? And we willingly choose to kill these animals when they don't have to be. Let alone, these animals aren't even supposed to be here in the first place, right? Like,
breed them into existence.
And I had a conversation with someone just last week where I was just like, pretty much, so we're having the conversation. This isn't I wouldn't say it is an excuse. And a reason they justify to eat meat. They're like, it's my choice, right? Like, I respect your point of view, right? I totally get that, right? Like, and that's a very valid argument in a lot of situations. But when it comes to you choosing for people or for individuals that don't have a choice, right? Right,
and there's like a victim involved.
When there's a victim involved, right? Right. When an individual's life is being taken away, right? That's when that crosses the line, right? And I was just like, so they said to me, well, you know, it's my choice. Like, I get to willingly eat animal body parts, right?
Do whatever I want.
I can do whatever I want. And I was just like, who is it for you to say that you get to decide what happens to them? And then the individual said, well, why do you think cows are here? They're here for us. I'm just like, are they though? I mean, who's saying that? That's like a very selfish point of view. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so many excuses people use, and like, that it's my choice. You know, like the cows here. Like, I don't know. Like, there's so many that come up. Yeah. So I think, and you're hearing there right there. You're like, what about the victim? You know, like who is your choice affecting? Yeah. And people don't really think of it like that, because people don't see the animals that we eat as individuals.
See them as objects.
Yeah, they see them as objects. It's
like,
do
what they want with
just
them.
A piece of meat. I can do whatever I want with them, right? But it's like, it's not really, I don't even know if it's like that. It's like, mentally they think it's like that, but if you brought that cow over here and you put it,
great point.
They're not going to be able to like kill it, let alone like, let alone kick it in the stomach or like punch it in the face, because you like
intellectually,
intellectually, exactly. You talked about this in your last podcast.
Dude.
intellectually people are vegan, but like that connection is not there because
it's that emotional connection.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the hole. That's the hole that people got to fill. You know what I mean?
And if you like, yeah, as I said, if you bring like an animal here and you tell them, okay, let's make dinner, they won't be able to do it.
No
but
way.
take it away and put it somewhere else, and then bring it all packaged up, put it on the plate.
Yep.
You know, the meal is ready. Then it's like
it's
because you don't have.
It's like, oh, you're good. You're good. Oh, it's just like
bring it from cow to beef, and
I mean, it's terrible, dude. Like when you really think about this, and just people like you understand what you're trying to justify right now when you don't have to, right? Like. Like, I get it. Like, the taste of meat is great, right? Like, undeniable, right? It tastes so good. Maybe not to everyone, but... And they say, you know, it's good for your health, right? It's good for, you know, whatever. Like, whatever justifications they come up with. You know, even though it's, you know, it's been, you know, been deemed as, like, a Class 2 carcinogen by, like, you know, the World Health Organization. But... It always comes back down to this selfish reason, right? It's for my health, right? It's for... It's all about me, right? But like, we just can't extend those rights to animals, right? Like and have them have moral consideration, right? And have them be able to not be needlessly suffered, even if they are treated in a good way, right? Like their lifespan is like most likely going to be probably 3/4 shorter than what it actually is, right? Yeah. And I just think this is something like, especially since it's not necessity for individuals to eat meat, right? It's something that, and like health-wise, you can get all your protein in, right? Exactly. And you really just got to look at it as an ethical matter, right? And then do your research from that point in order to fill in whatever needs you have to fit throughout that.
Yeah, and I still don't think there's any like justifiable excuse for like eating meat.
Unless it's like a necessity. Like
that's right.
Yeah, that's like, the only one that I like really can get
like
behind.
Anyone like in the Western world, like most people aren't really like let's say like you and me, like, you know, or like people like around campus. Like it's really like most of the time you have a choice, right? And that's why the Veg Club, like, we're working like to increase like plant-based options on campus. Because once you have the choice, like, why not make that choice? Like, what's stopping you from choosing the plant-based burger from the normal burger? Is it like normal, like from the animal product burger? You know, like what's stopping you? All right, taste, right?
Yeah, taste.
That's one excuse. Or is it expensive? Right? Is that like your excuse? Like all those excuses can actually be they can't be justified. You know, like I don't know. What's I gonna say?
Because like there is a lot of alternatives out there, right? Like you said, right? People will be like, it's too expensive, right? But yet they're buying like highly expensive steaks, right? But they could have easily substituted that taste, right? So like Earthling Ed brought up a really good point. It just depends on what type of product you're going for, right? So there's more high end, right? There's more low end, right? So there's more low end burgers that cost just the same as other low end burgers, right? At McDonald's, there's undeniably more of a demand for meat based products, right? So in general, the price is going to be lower,
and also the meat and dairy industry receive massive amounts of subsidies.
Absolutely,
like.
And it brings down the cost.
It brings down the cost dramatically. And if it wasn't for those subsidies, the industry wouldn't be able to survive. You know, they just can't keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because all the feed and all the cleanup and the waste and everything is just too much.
Yeah.
You'd rather just grow some beans, man.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And it's like, oh, God, it really just shows the state of our planet and it's where it's at, right? And it's just like, we have this, I mean, objectively speaking, there's so much evidence to support it that like switching to a plant-based lifestyle in all aspects of life will not only greatly help you, right? It will greatly help animals and the planet, right? Like, and it's not perfect, right? It's not, right? There are issues with veganism, right? Like 100%, no doubt about it. But it is the most cruelty-free path that, at least in my mind, everyone should, you know, engulf upon.
Yeah, especially like right now with everything that's going on. Like as we were talking earlier, by 2050, we really don't know what's going to happen. You know, like the rate at which everything is changing. Like every year, COP26 or 27.
Another strain. CNN.
Right? Or like, telling us our planet is on fire.
Yeah.
And we need to do something about it. You know, that's why right now veganism is like really important, because there's so much that's happening right now, and we have to find as many ways as possible, like to like, decrease our impact on the environment and like the whole system.
Yeah, and especially just because I think what a lot of people run into is just like we said before. It's most people, if you ask them the question, do you value life or taste, right? They're going to say, most likely at first, life, right? Some people will say taste, and then once you run along with that a little bit more, right, you'll find out that it's actually life, right? Like once you put that to the test. Yeah. So it's really just about making people aware of the information, right? Allowing them to think for themselves about it, you know, objectively research what their biases, their prejudices, and inclinations to be right to the side, right? And really seeing it for what it is, right? And through that, I think a lot of people, hopefully over time, if propaganda gets out of the way, if all this other shit gets out of the way, which is, you know, a utopian dream in itself.
It's hard.
I think it'll be able to happen.
Yeah, like the propaganda the meat and dairy industry has right now.
Oh, dude, it's so
it's
bad,
like as
man.
crazy as the smoking industry, you know? Like back in the day, like in the mid 1950s, you'll just go on TV and you'll see cigarette smoking ads and like, well, all that stuff, and it's legal, it's okay. You see doctors smoking and they're like, oh, it's good for you, what? And I feel like that's kind of the same tactic the meat industry is good for you. It's like, oh, this is good for you and what? And regardless that we're classified as a class 2 carcinogen, still gotta eat your meat.
Yeah, still gotta eat your meat.
Yeah, and like, yeah,
because I mean, you ever heard of Stu Leonard's? Have you ever heard of that? Okay, so it's like this. They literally, oh my God, so funny. They literally on their salads, they put a sticker on it and they said, world's biggest dairy store. Like, it's like every time I see that, I'm just like, I laugh so much because I'm like, we caused the most suffering. Like, in other words, but then on their like their shopping bags, on their shopping bags, they have an image, like a cartoon image of a cow smiling, right? And it's just like, right? And like it makes people, and like same thing here. Like I'm sure you've seen like the Guinness milk trucks that come by, right? With the cows, you know, in the pasture, right? Just like exactly. And it's they're portraying a completely different image from what's actually going on. Okay, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Let's just say that this factory farm, right, still follows like all the practices, right? Like standard practices, right? They're not like, they're treating them with care, right? They're whatever you want to define care as, right? Yeah, care, right? Let's just say, you know, they get their free range, right? Whatever, right? Like they have all these different types of things, right? And it's deemed as like okay, right? Like they're not living in terrible conditions, which unfortunately most of them are, right?
Because you really can't guarantee what's really happening in those farms. Yeah,
exactly.
So that's the thing. That's why most of these industries are starting to do those tactics, because people are waking up to like their consumption. So like, and I think this is like, I think we can be like thankful for like just the generation, you know, Generation Z and millennials, like how they're waking up to like just trying to see through all the advertisements and stuff, because these like the industry is like they keep buffing up their advertisements and like their free range, organic, non-GMO, all that stuff, you know. So all the companies have to do that to make sure that people actually buy their products.
Yeah, I mean it's just marketing, right?
Yeah,
and
the marketing. Yeah,
and they control people's perceptions, right, of what's going on, and as long as the public doesn't find out, they're good, right? Like they're good, right? But
you gotta sell your product, you know.
Gotta sell your product, right? And it's unfortunate that we're selling sentient, conscious beings that are having a subjective experience, right? And like, it's just in my mind, right? That type of, when you're being propagated like that, it just shows a lot about the culture we live in, right? It just shows that just because it's normalized by culture, we've touched on this so many times this episode, just because it's normalized as by culture, right, and it's deemed as acceptable does not make it moral, right? And a lot of times we just view things on TV. Like I was doing like a round from like my RA position. Like I was going through the basement, and I just heard in the back. I was passing by a TV, and I heard the commercial, and I was like, "Free range chickens, humanely raised," and like, and then like, it's just like I was just like, dude, like what is this, bro? Like you're literally, you're killing an ant. Like
It's
how
really,
how can you define something as humane?
Humane slaughter?
Humane slaughter. Like, that could not be a more contradicting statement in itself, right? Because, like, you know, Earthling N says this all the time. He's like, when you look it up in the dictionary, what kind of words do you see when you see the word next to humane? It's like compassion, benevolence, and kindness, you know? And like, do you think, do
you think you can do all those stuff while you're
matches up with those?
You know, while you're slicing the throat of an innocent being who doesn't want to die.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, there's so much like greenwashing going on, and that's the thing. That's what this industry has to resort to, because people are actually being like, you know what, I don't want my food to be going through not my food. I don't want all these things to be happening before I get my food, you know. I don't want a cow to be tortured their whole life, you know, and then comes on my plate, and then that's a 15-minute meal. Because people are like, people are,
great point,
starting to get like a closer connection to their more of an understanding of what's happening.
Exactly,
you know,
exactly. And with that understanding, it takes a long time, right? Because, like, you know, unless you're able to go cold turkey like my dude Kevin over here, it takes time, right? And I'm still working on it. You know, like I slip up every now and then. I don't eat meat, but like, you know, sometimes dairy, you know, sometimes that gets into the products I eat. Yeah, it's like fuck it.
It's hard to avoid dairy.
Exactly.
It could be like a birthday party. Yeah, have a cake.
Exactly. Very good point. Especially just realizing that, like, understanding what you're trying to justify is a 15-minute meal, right? In the exchange for a life of an animal that doesn't want to die. Like, just think about that for an instant. Like, like 15 minutes, bro.
15 minutes.
And that's your justification, right?
Yeah. But that animal, that's their whole life. That's their only chance.
Yeah, it's their only chance, man. And they don't want to die. Like you said, they inherently do not want to die, right?
Man, that makes it worse too, because like not that they don't want to die, but also that they don't know what's going on, you know? Like they don't understand. Like you just, a pig is born, they're born into this environment that's surrounded by other pigs, and then they don't know what's going on. They just eat, and then sleep. And then the day comes, and the next thing they see is their friends or family members or the people who they've been around, because pigs are really smart, you know? Yeah, they're actually smarter than dogs, and as smart as like a 3-year-old.
Yeah, 3-year-old, exactly.
So they can actually understand and like have connections with the other animals around them. And when that day comes and like they see other pigs getting killed and they know that they're next, it's really crazy. Like, imagine that. Like, it's one thing knowing like there's a death sentence and you're gonna get killed, so you prepare for that. But not knowing, I feel like that makes it much more worse. You know?
I mean, well, I would say, I think it depends, because I think I see exactly what you're saying, because I think when they're growing up in that type of environment, when they're just, all they see around them is just suffering, right? They just develop this, like, you've seen this so many times, like the pigs in the pen, right? They're just like hopeless, right? Like they don't know anything. They don't know anything better. But I think a contrary point that could be put there, like, since they have no concept of death, right? It would be easier for them to just, you know, because for a human that has a concept of death, they can fear it a lot more, right? They have that like imagination, right? So when death comes up, it would be like a lot more suffering, right? When it actually occurs, right? Just because they have that concept of death, right? So, and this is a big argument a lot of people make when it comes to like a cow getting in the pen, right? So they have a very good conception of what's going on. Like they'll nudge like I think it was like in that video they nudged the nodule or the gun out of the way, right? Like they were trying to like escape because obviously they understood what was going on. But like you said, it's just they don't understand what's going on, right? And I think for us humans, right, morally, that makes it even worse, right? Because that should give us even more of a reason to take care of them, right? Because they don't know what's going on,
they're
right?
Innocent. They don't know.
Innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you took a cow out of the slaughterhouse, it's not gonna be like you human. What are you guys doing to me? And you know, we take their kids away, and they're innocent. Like they can't do anything. They're just like,
and they'll still love you at the end of the day, right? Yeah, exactly.
Right. But like in that moment, like they know they're gonna die. Okay, no, they know they're gonna die, but something's gonna happen.
Something's going on.
Something's going on, and
they fear it.
So like, and then they see like their loved ones or friends or I don't even think people can like when I say friends, people are gonna be like, it's like how
there's some type of relationship.
There's a relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's as silly as it sounds, right? Like just, and I say this every time, like you just like, and it's a big thing too, because like when you call an animal an individual, right? People, oh, like what, dude? Nah, dude, they don't experience pain and pleasure, right? Yeah. Then what is it? Is it like a tree, right? I'm sure. Yeah. If you go stab a tree compared to a freaking cat or a pig or cow or chicken, right? There's gonna be a big difference there, right?
How about you? Like your dog? What is your dog? Like what different? Like they're an individual, but the cow is not like
exactly.
How?
Yeah, that's speciesism, right? And the fact that too, you intellectually, we touched on this before, intellectually you're vegan, right? But your actions say otherwise, right? And you're supporting animal cruelty with every single purchase that you have. And is there anything else you wanted to say, my man? I think that's, honestly, I think we touched on a lot. If you want to touch on more, we can.
I don't know. I feel like there's so much we could touch on.
Oh my God. We'll definitely do it. You'll definitely be back on again.
Hey,
I'll
be happy to be back.
100%, man. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we left? Or
no, not really.
Yeah. Gets a little hot in here. It's like a sauna, dude. But yeah, I mean, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and I think you're a very high valued individual, and I really respect your willingness and ability to make such big changes in your life, whether it be traveling here from Uganda, right? Whether that be integrating yourself within this culture, being able to see all the flaws and corruption that's going on, right? And just really being able to adapt to your vegan lifestyle or a veganism type of lifestyle. I really respect and I appreciate. So.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's been a pleasure being here.
It's been a pleasure, man. And where can they find you, my man, on Instagram?
Oh, yeah. Instagram is kevin.ug.
Kevin.ug. Okay, yeah. So if you have any questions, make sure you go hit them up there. Yeah,
and come through.
Come through, man. And go for it.
Oh, yeah. And if there's anyone watching here from Central, of course.
Yeah,
you can. You can always come over. Send me a text at kevin.ug. And or you can always visit like the Veg Club, you come through to one of our meetings. Just hit me up and I'll give you the info.
Man. Absolutely. So if you could hit that button for me, my man, the red one. Oh no! Hey, no, we got a full crowd here. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode number 72 of the Conscious Cast. I'm your host, Cal, along with my other boy, Mr. Kevin. Thank you once again, man, for coming on the show. So as always, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Love yourself because I love you. Stay handsome, and we are clocking out, people. Peace.